this time, I call the meeting of the Rock-Hawcreek School Corporation to order at 7 p.m. All members are present this evening except Mr. Miller. First item tonight is the approval of minutes from the last meeting, which was December the 2nd, I believe, right?
16, December 2nd.
December 2nd, yeah.
It's not there.
There it is.
She's got it.
There you go.
Okay.
Move to approve minutes as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Next item up is item number 4, public comment. Is there any public comment this evening? Hearing none, we will move on to item number 5, approval of payroll vendor claims.
We have payroll of December 5th, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the claim.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. All right, next up is item number 6, personnel, Mr. Price.
All right, we have a short personnel agenda for you tonight. We have our volunteers. There are 2 in your packet, and I recommend the board approve these volunteers as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the volunteers? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion passes.
And then next up, we have Athletic Director Kyle Shipp is recommending Frankie Poole III as the baseball varsity assistant coach for the 26th season. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve Frankie Poole III as the baseball varsity assistant coach.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by electing Frankie Poole III as the varsity assistant coach for 26 seasons, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes.
Thank you. And then finally, I have an instructional assistant. Brenda Codwell submitted her letter of resignation effective immediately. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve this resignation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion of Brenda Caldwell's resignation signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion passes.
That concludes the personnel report.
All right, next up, item number 7, superintendent's report.
We have a couple recommendations from J.B. Royer. He wants to hire T&T Electrical to install weight room lighting at the cost of $7,000. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve the hire of T&T Electric to install the lighting in the weight room.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Are those drop ceiling lights? They're
Ceiling mount.
Ceiling
With the-
mounts.
With the hard ceiling, we could hang them, we're not going to, we're gonna mount them
flush
directly. with
mount.
all the activity in there, and we didn't really want things hanging down until you get hit.
Yeah, that's one of our few drywall ceilings. So we're getting ready to do a refresh in there. It's gonna get ceiling painted, walls painted, new logos, things like that we're doing in-house. And so this lighting will help add to that small makeover that's happening.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of hiring T&T Electric for the lighting in the weight room signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion passes.
And likewise, JB's asking that T&T Electric do the install for our new auditorium lighting. It's a slightly different fixture, but it's also, we're doing the same thing in the auditorium. We're blacking out the ceiling, painting the walls. We've got some new acoustic panels going up. If you remember correctly, we've already done the floor when we had the carpeting ripped out and we had the plumbing issue. So really, it's going to get a makeover and a refresh. Allison has been working on a vendor with sound and lighting for stage lighting, but this will be the general lighting in the auditorium. So I'm recommending that we use T&T Electric to do that same, and the quote came in right about the same for the number of lights we need at $7,000.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion?
I reached out to Ferguson,
Yeah.
who did our bathroom install for us, and they said there was no way they could get it done. Their crews were all wrapped up and kind of tied up for the winter, and not
Yeah.
really wanting to wait until the summer, so.
And really what drove these, and TNT's done most of our work here in this building, and we've used them several places. We've had another one that's been, but they're the most responsive. We gave a pretty tight timeline for this specific project, as well as the thing I'm gonna add here next. They were wanting to do that over break. They're painting like this week and right before Christmas, and then they're gonna come back, so we got a window of opportunity where those two rooms aren't used at all, and we're gonna try to knock out almost everything. We may have a little bit to wrap up when we come back in the auditorium, but the weight room should be done before students re-enter.
Do we try to get three responses though?
We do, and like I said, JB's talked to, there was Nate, well, we're gonna talk about Nating in a second. He's had multiple vendors in there. This was the one response that we received.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Ferguson responded, but basically said, sorry, we can't get to you.
And then I had the sound people come as well about the ductwork. They said, we don't do that. We'll do your walls, we'll do ceilings, but we don't do the ductwork. So, and they also told me the acoustics in that room were excellent. They're the ones that came in and did all the testing. The acoustics are excellent. The noise is the HVAC. And they said that's when we've got to talk about the sound system. And that was their state, was you need to upgrade your sound system to fit the space, what they told me. So, and that company was recommended by Dunlap Contractors. That's how I found them. They've done a lot of large IU auditorium stuff type things. So I felt pretty confident in their response. They tested our cafeteria as well, and that one about made his ears bleed. Yeah, different take on our cafeterias. He's like, we really need some good in here. I didn't want to see the bill, what it would take to do what they wanted to do with them.
Do they normally outfit tornado shelters or not?
He said that would have been a new one for him, yeah, so.
See how they do on this one, you go from there.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of hiring TNT Electrical to install lighting in the auditorium signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes.
All right, and then I'm going to insert, before we move on to the report, so I shared with you earlier, it goes along with that auditorium remodel. We've struggled with the ductwork in there and the noise that it makes. Most of the time, if we have a meeting and we don't have our microphone and sound system going, we'll turn off the blowers in there just because of the sound level, the volume that's putting out there. So we've had several look at this, all the way from recommendations to replacing the whole unit to what else can we do to dampen the sound. And Nating has a product to wrap these ductwork and replace the diffusers. So I'm recommending that we use Nating Mechanical to install ductwork sound dampening wrap along with a couple of new diffusers along the stage area. At the cost of $10,135. Again, the other companies we talked to had bigger plans for what they would do. I think this will be more in line with what we're trying to do with that renovation. The time to do it is now with painting the ceiling and doing that work we're already doing. Nating says they can squeeze us in and get us in here sometime during break or shortly after, so we can go ahead and get that ceiling painted. So anyway, I'm recommending Nating Mechanical do the duct work wrapping in the auditorium.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of hiring Nating Mechanical to wrap the ductwork in the auditorium signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes.
And finally, that moves on to the principal's report from Mr. Fortune. I think he's got a
Yep.
report.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. This evening, I'm gonna, I guess, kind of share something a little bit different than I probably ever have shared with you guys before. So, looking forward to it. So, obviously, as you can see, my focus tonight is just going to be on things that we've done just to build a positive culture amongst our staff. I think whenever I took over 4 years ago, as the principal at Hauser. I don't mean this in any negative way towards anyone else, but, I do think that this was something that was lacking, and that was a bit of a struggle between our staff members, and administration. I think we've done a lot of things, and I feel like our building is in a really good place right now, as far as our relationships between staff members and administration and just everybody in the building. So, let's see here. Can I get this to work? Here we go. All right. So, it's probably been 2.5, 3 years ago. We started doing what we call Fun Fridays. It's not every Friday that we do something. It's just kind of here and there whenever we feel like our staff could use a little boost. We just try to come up with something fun that doesn't take a whole lot of time out of the day. Something that, again, just creates conversation amongst staff members to build relationships. These are just a few of the things that we've done. Just a breakfast cart in the morning where myself and Miss Madden walk around with pastries or drinks just to hand those out to staff members. We've taken Sonic drink orders, just go and get them and then deliver them to them at school. And then there's just a lot of kind of fun game type of things that we can run during the first few minutes of the day or the first couple minutes of each class period. That again don't take very long, but just kind of create some fun and positivity throughout the building. So a couple that we've just done recently, so Pumpkin in Your Pocket was actually, sounds kind of weird, but it was actually really fun and created a lot of laughter throughout the building. So we had 5 little miniature crocheted pumpkins, and so they just started with 5 random people throughout the school, and had to carry one in your pocket if you had it, and so people would just go around and ask, hey, JB, you got a pumpkin in your pocket?
I got asked that.
If
I
you
had
did,
to
you had to give it to that person. And so at the end of the day, whoever had the pumpkins in their pocket ended up winning a small prize or something. And so that is also something that we tie in with these. If they're game-based, we'll have little prizes and things like that to give to staff members who win or complete the task at hand. Before we've done a matching, would you rather, so every teacher started the morning whenever they came in, they had a card on their desk, it was like, would you rather, and it had the question, and they had to find, at some point, another staff member who had the exact same would you rather question. So throughout the day, they had to ask everybody, would you rather this or this, and so just kind of one of those, almost like an icebreaker kind of activity to get to know each other a little bit better, but they had to keep going around and asking more and more staff members until they found the person with the match, the same would you rather question as they had, and then once they did, they got to come to the office and get some type of little treat or something. So one of the most recent ones we just had, we did for being the Christmas season, we just had a Christmas song bingo, and so I kind of splurged on that one a little bit. I don't know if you saw on our Facebook or not, but Mr. Klinger won that one, and we actually sent him to the Brown County Music Center to see Chris Young, the Christmas concert that he just put on there a couple weeks ago. So we usually keep it pretty small. That was a big one. Just being the Christmas season, we decided to splurge a little bit. So obviously we have pitch-ins. Staff usually actually put these on. We just had our Christmas party pitch-in today, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but it's always good to get together with each other and eat some good food, so that always helps. And then just staff events throughout the years that we've done. These are usually, well, not usually, but they all take place outside of school or for prolonged periods of time. So a couple of times we've gone to Indianapolis Indians games and just kind of hung out there and watched the game towards the end of the year as like a staff appreciation outing. At the beginning of the year, one year we went to Top Golf before the school year started. We've been kayaking together. Every year we usually do a March Madness bracket challenge. We usually have a fantasy football league amongst ourselves, and then today actually we just had our Christmas party, so we did a white elephant gift exchange, and we were going to do Christmas sign painting, but with the delay that we had, we didn't have enough time for it, so we're actually going to do it on a Friday. So I made wooden signs and stencils that people picked, and we're going to paint them, so we'll do that on Friday. gift that they can take home with them. So do that on Friday. And then I think I've shared both of these things before, but just staff member recognition, things that we do just constantly throughout the year. So we started Teacher of the Month program. So this actually started last year's Christmas party at a White Elephant gift exchange. Ellie Trotter made that Employee of the Month, so I have an Old Jets Pizza car topper. And then this year I've already shared, we implemented the Hauser Hero program, so students can just submit just random things at any time that they're thankful for a teacher for, like something that the teacher did for them, and the teacher will get a little sticker on their window and a printout of what the student said about them. All right, and so, I don't know what I just did there.
I do.
What did I do?
You accidentally switched to the Android side.
Well, while he's doing that, I'll just say that, especially like the Jet of the Month on the car, it gets noticed. I actually had a maintenance staff employee that said, "Can anybody get that?" Or is that only?
Yeah, we didn't actually expect for people to actually put it on top of their car and drive around with it, but they do. So,
I've seen it in the parking lot.
so.
I just figured more employees would.
So we do a lot of things just throughout the year, just little things here and there, sometimes some bigger things that we put a little more time into. But really, why do we do this? I know a couple reasons. First of all, number one for me, I think retention has to be intentional. We know right now teachers are leaving the profession very frequently, and number two, there's a shortage of teachers coming into the workforce. So I like the staff that we have, and I want to keep them. And I think one of the ways that we can do that is by trying to provide a fun and welcoming place for them to come to work every day. This is kind of another reason. Whenever I was getting into administration, I read this book, just trying to learn things about leadership. And any of you know me, probably know that I really like Disney and all things Disney. This is really like, and I like the behind the scenes stuff about how they operate and the things that they do. So this is a book that was written by one of their executive vice presidents of operations, and he talks about fuel for energizing your staff, and he says that you can always provide ARE, appreciation, recognition, and encouragement. And so as I go throughout, the weeks and months, the years, I try to keep this in the back of my mind. How are we showing appreciation for our staff? How are we recognizing them? How are we encouraging them? Because the little things that we do here and there are what really motivate them to keep doing all of the difficult things that we ask them to do for our students and our community. And then I feel like just overall our outcomes that we've had from doing all these things, I mean, I really feel like we do have we talk about it all the time, I think just as a district altogether, but I really do feel like we have a family-style relationships within our building. I mean, our Christmas party that we just had today, we had nearly 30 people there, and a lot of their kids came from daycare, and they just kind of hung out with us all there. We had food, and we did a White Elephant gift exchange, and I just think that's really cool to be able to gather that many of us together after school. We couldn't do it during that early release time, so they actually just stayed after school on their own, and I think that's just really cool to see. And then secondly, it creates collaborative relationships. Obviously, we're in this because we're trying to improve the educational outcomes of students, and so just having strong bonds between staff members ends up creating a more collaborative workspace where they're more willing to go and ask questions to me or other staff members. And then finally, like I just talked about, just retention. I feel like, knock on wood, we've been pretty fortunate the past couple of years. We've had pretty low turnover. Last year we just had 1, and the year before that it was just 2. Obviously, life happens and people are going to move on for a number of different reasons, but I feel like we've been able to keep a lot of the teachers that we have, and that's always a good thing because we're always building on things that we're just building on more and more. And so anytime we can keep doing that and not have to start over with new teachers, I think is a good way to continue to make progress. So I think that's all I've got. So any questions about any of that?
I want to make a comment, and if he wasn't going to share with you the turnover rates, I just wanted to make sure that was brought up, that, what Chris and his team what they've been doing is working, and I like some of those activities. Even though some of them may be small, they are very intentional, and they build a lot of touch points for people to engage with one another. And so I like that approach. So good job.
I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my right-hand woman, I guess. Christine Madden takes on a lot of this stuff too, and she just does a phenomenal job of getting everything prepared, getting things out to teachers, like between the time that they leave that evening and getting it set out for them to walk in the morning, and it's all right there. So she really is a huge part of this, and so gotta give her a shout out too. So.
Anybody from the board have questions or comments?
So I think you're right, I think it's intentional. I guess my only question would be, anything that you want to work on going forward, or anything new and exciting coming up that you're thinking about doing that's
For
staff?
staff.
For staff, for engagement, for all those things the R's.
Yeah.
The A, I guess it's not the R's.
Yeah. Not off the top of my head. I mean, we're always trying to come up with new things that we haven't done before, and after doing it for 3 years, it becomes challenging. But
Yeah.
we always throw ideas back and forth all the time, new things that we're trying to come up with.
You mentioned on a couple of those items, a lot of them are low to no cost ways to recognize people, but there is a financial element to this. Where do you pull the funds from? Do you have donations that come in to help this out? What would you say to that?
Yeah, we do some fundraisers here and there whenever we can. We do have like the improvement of instruction dollars that we use at times, but yeah, we get donations and things too. So we do fundraisers here and there to try to offset a lot of this stuff.
Okay. Hey, thank you for being here, and thank you for letting us kind of tweak and move. I know you were slated before, and we wanted to move that around.
Appreciate you letting me move to
some
this
of the
Tuesday
changes.
instead of the last one.
All right, that concludes the superintendent's report.
All right, next up, item number 8, other business.
That's me. So it's the end of the year, so this is where I ask the board to make a motion to approve any and all administrative decisions made by the superintendent for the year of 2025. Kind of a catch-all that we've done at the end of the year. But that's my recommendation to the board to approve it.
I move we follow Mr. Andrews' recommendation.
Second.
Got a motion, and a second. Any discussion tonight? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes.
I have one item of other business. I just want to it's just want to shout out and bring it to your attention. If you didn't see it in the paper today, our robotics team did a fantastic job, and they competed at New Pal, and they have qualified. The King Cobras is their name, and they've qualified for the state tournament at Lucas Oil Stadium in March. So we wanted to give a shout out to our robotics team and their coaches, and they've just done a fantastic job, and I think that continues to grow, and I know they've had grant funding before, and I think some of that has shifted a little bit, so they're always looking for sponsorship. So if you know anybody that wants to inject some financial funding and support into our robotics, they'll always be appreciative of that. So we've got a state-bound robotics team, and we want to throw that out there. More information once we get closer to time, but I think that was in the Republic today. Other than that, we do have a lot of events over the break. There'll be tournaments, ball tournaments like usual. I hope everybody has a good holiday, and we will be back on January the, what is that, first Tuesday? The 6th. We will have a board meeting. So that's all I have.
All right, is there any other business?
I just want to know, I was not one of the advisors of the robotics team. Let me make that clear.
Thanks for clarifying that, Doc. We appreciate it.
I was afraid people would take that long.
All right, is there any other business from the board tonight? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. We're adjourned at 7:24.
I want to thank whoever
Yeah.
brought these in. I will be able to enjoy, I